Well, hello and welcome back to what is actually episode 2, which means, well, we have a series and not just a one-off, which is great. Let's hope I can keep this going for a lot longer. 2 episodes is not going to be enough, I fear. If you did listen to the first one, or if you did tune into the first one, then you'll know I told you all about what I used to do many years ago in the world of sport, that I'm now back into doing more sports photography for newspapers, and we had a trip down the road to Rushall FC, who won their match. And also they won the league a few days later. They are champions and they move up from tier 9 in the Football League pyramid to tier 8, and let's hope they go on from there. This week we're going just a few miles away from Walsall Wood, I think about 3 miles down the road, closer to Walsall, and they are a team that is currently in tier 7 of the pyramid, and they are also in the playoffs. So today's match will not be having much at stake, let's put it like that. I think some players will be rested because they will be looking to do their first playoff leg on either Tuesday or Wednesday, so not everyone's going to come out, but it'll still be a good game to watch. The team, well, they are Rushall Olympic, and as I say, they're on the outskirts of Walsall. They have a nice synthetic 3G pitch, so whatever the weather happens to be in the week, I know this match will always go ahead, whereas some of the others I've been booked to do in the year haven't been on because grounds have been waterlogged. This is an exceptionally long, cold winter stroke spring. It is now April the 22nd, and honestly I should be wearing short sleeve shirts out on the grounds by now, but I'm not. Once again, I'm dressed for the weather. I should have all the weather gear on just in case it turns a bit nasty, and I just despair. I will be doing cricket in a couple of weeks' time, so hopefully then I will be able to sit around for a few hours in the sunshine and get a bit of a tan and have a cool drink. But at the moment I'm still afraid it is winter type of weather. That is it. We shall head down there. Just to bring you up to date, you may recall also I mentioned about this year background, and I did say they are vinyl records, and I've been a vinyl record collector for many years, since I think 1968 I started, when I was still at school, and I've been collecting records ever since. Well, I thought the background was nice and plain, lots of white card sleeve covers, but I thought it needs a splash of colour, and there is a splash of colour this week. That is it there. That's an album from 1969 on the CBS record label. It's by a band called Andwella's Dream, and it's called Love and Poetry. A very esoteric album to listen to, and one from my collection. So as I do more of these videos, I shall have to replace the little splash of colour each week, and we'll see what sort of stuff we have. I would love to do videos on music and play, but of course you can't on YouTube because you'll get a content strike straight away. I did actually used to have a video channel some years ago with a couple of hundred shots or videos of music being played on an old-fashioned turntable, and I did get millions and millions of views. But sadly, as time went on, I also got a few copyright strikes. I thought, well, I shall quit that before I get too many. You have to make sure you keep yourself in good stead with people like YouTube, because it will go against you in the future. Anyway, that's the spiel. We'll now go and pack the car and put a heavy coat on and head down the road to see Rushall Olympic. Right then, well, here we are today, and today's venue is, well, for a start we have a nice big car park, which is what we'd like to see. Plenty of parking space, as long as you get here early, of course. Anybody who gets here late has to park in the lanes outside. But we are at Rushall Olympic FC in Dales Lane, which is in Rushall on the outskirts of Walsall in the West Midlands. So we'll head over towards the ground and see what we've got over there. And here's a sign to pay attention to. Now, do have a very nice 3G pitch down here at Rushall Olympic, which means unless you've got plastic or rubber moulded stud football boots, you can't get on the ground, which means I can't get on there either. One of the few grounds where I'm not even allowed on the touchline, so I have to stand back and keep behind the barriers like everybody else, about which I'll show you later on. And indeed, as I said, we do have a very nice synthetic pitch here at Rushall Olympic, and obviously I'm not allowed on there because I'm not wearing soft studded boots. And you will see there's quite a slope here at the edge. There's not that much space between the touch lines and the end of the pitch, and a very severe slope as well, which would have made it quite crowded for me. So I have to stand behind the barrier like everybody else, but I can still choose a good position and get a nice low angle to shoot the match as and when I want. You will see the pitch itself is quite flat, but there is an awfully big slope from right to left going upwards, and there's a huge difference between the vantage point on the right hand side and the left hand side. So it is a case of getting the right sort of position to shoot at my normal sitting down on the Minimax stall level, and I can get the low action that I require. But all in all, it is a very good pitch, well looked after. We know games will always go ahead on a pitch of this nature. And now we are down at the other end of the pitch. This is the southern end of the ground. It's the end from which I prefer to shoot the match. I've got the sun on my left hand side, which means I've got the right light angles coming in. If I do shoot from the other end of the pitch looking up this way, yes, I can get some shots in, but there's quite a few positions where as the players are coming towards me, I am shooting directly into the sun, which does me no favours whatsoever. So this is my preferred end at this particular ground. I would normally be maybe another 10 to 15 feet across to my right alongside that little white line there, but because the ground around does slope up quite markedly, if I were there I'd be that little bit too high. I'd be normal eye level and I want to be at sitting down level. So I have to make sure I'm in the right place, and sometimes you do have to nudge a few supporters out the way with a kind, would you mind please if I come through and take some photos? But they're always very obliging down here. And one other good thing here, I do have a barrier in front of me so I can clamp my video camera to that and get a nice steady shot whilst I'm doing this video. On the other hand, there are some of the away team practicing and they're banging the ball against the barrier, which does make the camera shake from time to time. All in all though, it's a good spot to be. I've got a good arc from which to shoot all around here, and very few spots that I can't actually reach with either of my cameras and lens combinations. Just to give you a further indication of the slope here, you can see the pitch from the corner here is nice and flat in front of me, and I'd be about 30 feet away on the right hand side, but you can see that walkway goes up an awful long way, and you can see how the edge of the pitch slopes down and then up once you get to the goal mouth. So those people in the stand over the way are quite high up compared to where I am now, and that does make life a little bit more awkward. It is best to be shooting this game, most action games like football or rugby, at a low level. Once you get up and you're over 6 feet high, it doesn't look right. The action just isn't where you want. But we do have a good pitch here. They should be out very shortly to play. The weather forecast is better than I expected as well. And I've now walked down to the other end of the pitch yet again. And once again, you can see the difference in levels here, how the outside, the perimeter of this ground does go up quite a bit. I could shoot from this sort of angle if I wanted to, but as I said before, I do prefer to be shooting up the pitch and have the action coming towards me and not having it go across or indeed away from me, so that's much better. What have we got here? Well, we've got Pics Pantry if you want a cup of tea, hot dog or chips, and to the right you've got the clubhouse and bar as well if you want something more substantial. I should be going there very shortly, not to have a drink, you understand, but to sit down and have a cup of tea and hopefully a biscuit. This room here is my first port of call when I arrive at Rushall Olympic. It's not quite as large as the one I was in last week at Walsall Wood in their big function room, but this is ideal for me to sit down, put my gear down, get my backpack off and sit down and decide the order of play for today, what I'm going to do first. My main thing is to get hold of a copy of the team sheet for both teams. When I do send in pictures to the newspaper, I do need to be able to identify both sets of players as much as I possibly can. My kit's here as well. Today I'm already set up with a 300mm f2.8 with a 1.4 converter, along with the 70 to 200 f2.8, both on Nikon D850 bodies. Normally I'd start off with the 24 to 70 as well and get some team shots as they come out, but because I can't set foot on the pitch here because it's 3G, I'll set up for the match per se. Let's have another look around at the room where I'm waiting. Lots of pictures on the wall from previous match programmes. I think most of these would have been taken by the in-house photographer, a chap called Steve Walker, with whom I normally have a chat when I turn up here. Pleasant fella, and a big shout out to him. Also, there's a nice big screen TV which I can watch if I want to, but generally I don't because I'm getting busy setting up all my bits and pieces and getting ready to go out. Mainly it's a case of put the gear together and sit down, and while I'm waiting, have a nice cup of tea. This is the best bit, a nice cup of tea and a Peppa Pig magazine to read. Sorted. It's half time, so let's look at a few of the shots I've got so far. I had planned on doing a piece to camera during the break, but as I was about to start, a nice gentleman from security came up to me, asked me all sorts of questions about the gear I was using, what I was doing, and many, many other questions. And the least I could do was give up my time and tell him what it was all about. At the end of the day, I'm a guest down here. It is the very least that you can do. Well, that's it. We're done. It's all over. Rushall lost 4-1 in the end. It doesn't really matter as they are in the playoffs anyway. Maybe away Tuesday night at Colville remains to be seen. Music's starting now, so time to sign off. Right then, we are back. As I suspected, they didn't pull out all the stops today. There was nothing to play for. Rushall Olympic went down 4-1. But they saved themselves. They are playing Colville in the first leg of the playoffs on Wednesday night. If they win that, they're through to the final playoff next weekend, but I shall be away for that. I'm going away for a week or two now. When I come back, we shall do something different because the cricket season has now started, so we'll be having a month or two of going to various places around sunny Staffordshire on a Saturday afternoon watching the cricket. If the weather does pick up, I hope it will do. So next video we'll be moving away from footy and onto the cricket for a while, but we'll return to the football and rugby in a few months' time and do a few more videos. I will leave you with a few more shots from the game, and you may also notice we've changed the record. We now have, what have we got over there? Yes, we've got a little bit of scar from early 1968 on the Dr. Bird label. They are the Ethiopians and Engine 54. So I will keep changing this just to keep you on your toes. I was going to try and find a nice red cover. I thought red would stand out well, but that one came to hand first of all, so we'll have it there. Otherwise, that is it. Pictures to come. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in a few weeks. Bye-bye.